Hi everyone, welcome to the Superhuman Switch, a mind-body business empowering podcast of high achievers guaranteed to switch your superhuman levels on. I'm your host, Saf. Today I'm joined with Omar Busaidy. Omar is the founder of Global Possibilities, investor, advisor, and the best-selling author in the United Arab Emirates of the book Just Read It. For 18 years, Omar has been advising using his expertise for individuals, businesses, and government entities. Also has been invited as a speaker to universities and major events. Today we're going to explore me maybe, we're going to explore how he's able to manage all of this while maintaining a balanced lifestyle. Omar, it's a pleasure having you here.
So it is my honor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Mr. Safwan Al-Turk. All you need to know is that he is the superhuman. And he is giving us the switch to have this opportunity to get enlightened by his knowledge and his experience and his expertise. And that's why we're here today. So Safwan, welcome to the show.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Omar, before we start, I would just give the credit where it's due. These guys, it's not sponsored, by the way. I'm really impressed on the fact that they have delivered as a publisher and as courier. Mm-hmm. They delivered the book with such a respect.
Shout out to Iman bin Sheba, founder of Sale Publishing, who are the publishers of Just Read It.
These guys are amazing.
There you go.
It's like the way they delivered quickly, actually.
Alhamdulillah.
And the way it's packaged. And of course, we're going to jump into the book, of course, discussing Omar's book, Just Read It. It's impressive.
Thank you, sir.
You wrote it in 2015.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a lot of interesting questions, and we're going to dive into a lot of other things. Unless you want to really interview me.
No, I'm waiting for you to just finish your intro so that I can start with my questions.
I'm in a weird position now, but I really love it.
Saf, look, can I just tell you this? Look, sure. Everybody knows, well, not everybody, fine. I'm not going to pretend like this is like the art of war that everybody knows Sun Tzu and what he said, or, you know, people like Adam Grant and mashallah, all these legends that you have sitting over here. But, you know, first of all, if you want to know more about me, just go online and Google and you'll find out like whatever you want to know. But it's really interesting for me to know more about the people like yourselves who try to get to understand more of the people who are kind of like doing things and achieving things. But actually, we already know that it's people like yourself, Safwan, that have achieved quite a lot in their lives. But now they're almost trying to decipher what are these other people doing and how maybe you can help us even grow more. So you like to hide behind the scenes, but really you're the ones who've achieved quite a lot in your lives. And I think before we even dive into the book, why are you doing this, Safwan?
That's the core question, actually. And I realized for a fact, something that you tapped into is that I became more and more curious to understand how the high achievers and how basically the people that I look for are basically doing their things on a daily basis. And I looked into it in several angles. Some of them basically are selfish, just to keep the growth mindset that I want to stay in that lane. And at the same time, I became more interested in people to understand their pain points, their challenges, and how they are overcoming. Because I realized that a lot of people out there, they need such a support. And I figured out that this is the right platform to provide these solutions or these ways or these steps to support them in the way.
Were you able to sort of get more out of your guests, you feel, from a podcast? Do you feel that they're more vulnerable and more open than when they're off the podcast, or vice versa? What have you sort of like discovered from almost like you feel like you probably turn like to a therapist or like a psychologist after this, because you've done, mashallah, so many interviews and a lot of very interesting people. So like, do you feel like you get more out of them when you get them on the show?
I'm overwhelmed with the after the interview that the type of relationship that we built is beyond my imagination. I did not even expect this. I did not put it in the roadmap. The only funny, interesting part that I felt the connection during the conversation with this specific setup in a way that we are listening to each other and we are communicating face to face. That's why I don't favor the video podcast for this fact. And luckily, so far, the feedback from the guest first, which is a priority for me, is really positive. And now the other side, that the people that I'm close to started to connect back to me listening to these podcasts. It's really overwhelming.
I know. Look, Safwan is like itching. He wants to ask me the question. It's not going to happen. I told him today it's about him.
I'm going with the flow.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this.
Good.
I have no questions.
Okay.
All the fact that basically it's like by knowing you, how did we know? Yeah, by our friend Luay.
Yeah.
And he connected us and he told me, you have to bring Omar to the podcast.
Oh.
And I was, of course, with my like basic experience, to know more about the person that he will bring a lot of value. And he told me about your book. And instantly I was like looking through Amazon and where the hell I can buy this book. And he gave me the link.
Yeah.
And I went through the book. What I really liked about it, that it's a collection of interesting thoughts from your background and from amazing people and thought leaders, and how you added your perspective to it.
Yeah.
So the book is 2015, but personally, what I really liked about this one, that you can keep carrying it everywhere you go.
Yeah.
By the way, there's 100 for my son.
That's that's funny.
And the funny part that whenever you want, you can just go through the book and read a part of it, and it captured a lot of like interesting things
Thank you.
to cover. But yeah, the question is, who's Omar?
Okay, wait. I'll get to that. But Safwan, look, I have to ask you this. I told you earlier, I lived in Lebanon for a while.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful and smartest people you're ever going to meet in your life. I'm telling you guys, like if you haven't been to Lebanon, and I'm ashamed to even call myself an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs exist in Lebanon. That is entrepreneurship. With everything that country is going through and what has always gone through for quite a long time. I mean, mashallah, the people there, how they've persevered through everything that they've went through. Mashallah, I don't know what else to add, but tell us about your time in Lebanon and how you came to the UAE. I love asking my friends from Lebanon about that question. Like, when was the turning point? There's some of my Lebanese friends who were there who do not want to leave. They want to try to have some sort of an impact. But some people who, for better or for worse, had to leave. So tell us your story before we get to who's Omar.
Yeah, that's a sensitive question, actually, for me personally, because I've always been attached to the country itself. The way I was raised, I'm from Beirut, from the capital. And I was born in the Civil War. So you can say I'm 1979, where all my childhood was also on the borders between the main three conflicting parties. And surprisingly, I used to have friends from these parties.
Yeah.
And as a kid, basically raised in that critical position, surprisingly, I was enjoying it as a kid. But at the same time, we have really bad times where we have to hide and escape. And sometimes we leave the district to move and to escape from that place. So I enjoyed this journey, and of course, unfortunately, my dad got a little bit sick when I was like almost in the teenager. And as a teenager, I was always rebellion, want to don't accept my reality. And I was able to try actually to finish my high school, but I failed miserably in the last 2 years. And because of the situation at home, I was like trying to at least work as a side job just to continue my degree. I didn't actually. It's I had to borrow the last year, but luckily I was able to finish the another degree in the mechanical kind of engineer, just to have like a side job, at least a degree to be at least to enter a job space.
Yeah.
So after that, it's been a journey. I jumped to multiple jobs, and then I joined luckily with the distributor of Procter & Gamble.
Oh.
So I was proudly distributing Pringles.
Nice. Oh, once you pop, you can't stop.
Exactly. Hamra was my main district.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay.
Because I was managing the Beirut, side, West Beirut.
I was staying in the Rotana Hotel there. That's
where
where
I lived. It's one of the biggest.
Walking to campus from there. Yeah. That's where I stayed.
And so after 5 years, luckily my manager supported me by jumping back to the university, studying and trying to complete my degree in the night university. And it's after a period of time, I got promoted. I managed Coca-Cola business there, and I had an assignment to move to Dubai.
Oh, nice.
2006.
Okay.
But before that, this is basically why you asked me the question why I moved to Dubai. which is more actually it has resonated basically in depth because I joined the Red Cross in 2000 and I was a volunteer and I progressed there, became a trainer and then a team leader. This is where the plaque is, luckily after 7 years. But the last sprint and aggressive sprint was during the 2006 war. Which is basically it's a weird experience mixed of like deep emotions between the bad and the good and seeing basically how the community came together. But unfortunately after the war, political conflicts put the decision in my brain that I cannot stay there personally, and of course I cannot raise my kids there, unfortunately. And this is my journey why I moved to Dubai in 2007. And the story how we got married, I told you before the podcast. But yes, it's like, But
guys, Safwan has got a beautiful family. If you've not seen his account, you know, like go through Safwan's Instagram. I'm telling you, it's beautiful just to see how the bond, mashallah, may God, you know, protect you all and give you a strong, healthy life. But honestly, like you look at people like you, like, okay, first of all, power couple, beautiful kids. Everything's like, mashallah. I mean, you know, it's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, because in a world with all this chaos, it's nice to see some light. And thank you for sharing that light with us.
Omar, it's like, I love the fact that you put me on the spot, which is something I'm grateful for because, again, I'm really glad for you that you are basically taking the leap of faith.
Yeah.
Getting married soon.
Yeah.
But first, I just want to complete basically that I'm really basically grateful that I'm being basically staying in Dubai now for almost since 2007.
Yeah.
And I feel this is my home, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because, but it's a privilege, of course, with my kids. They call themselves Dubaians. Yeah. Because both of them, they are born here.
Yeah.
But
they definitely are. I can tell you. You know, the UAE's leadership, alhamdulillah, and the government is always emphasizing on that and saying, you know, we are where we are today because of the contribution from people all over the world. That the UAE did not get to this just by, you know, money or whatever, just like that. But it came because there's a lot of people who gave blood, sweat, and tears to be in this country and helped elevate this country to where we are today. So the UAE is always grateful to all the people from all over the world.
I love it.
And this is, I love how a few years ago, I think it was, they even called it the United Global Emirates.
No doubt.
Like it's an initiative. Like literally, this is where global possibilities take place, like right here.
Absolutely, no doubt. And of course, we discussed this every the podcast, the diversity of friends we have, and for our kids, how basically they are raised in this kind of like, I wouldn't say global mindset, but openness about basically how they look into things, knowing different cultures, being part of other cultures is beyond imagination. Of course, for us coming from one defined, unfortunate culture, what's happening now, but man, we're grateful.
Yeah. 100%. And by the way, and I'll tell you one thing, like, and I mixed with a lot of different people from different backgrounds in Lebanon. What I try to remind people is what you see in the media, it's just a few people. I have mixed with everybody and everybody was amazing. Yani, there's a group of people that do converge and they're amazing together. And then you have some people who can maybe just be like, they have the sheep mindset and then get swayed away by propaganda or whatever. But otherwise,
that's true.
The people that I was around, they opened their doors, their hearts, their everything. I mean, I'm fortunate. I've got 2 businesses, 2 different Lebanese partners. I've got Nancy, I've got Lana Noura on the other side. You know, we're doing events on this side. I'm doing EdTech with Nancy on the other side, and Rana, by the way, also another Lebanese. So there's 2 Lebanese women on this side, 2 Lebanese on this side, and mashallah, I'm learning so much. Wallah, I've got so much, you know. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's really
so
cool.
I've got business partners. Like I literally, like, we're doing so well together. We're elevating together. So for me, it goes away.
How's everything? Because I've seen some of your talks, and you are hyperactive by sharing all your stories, and something you cannot miss.
Yeah,
that's where the funny part, when I told you that when I met that, I feel that I know you because I've been following your journey, reading your book, understanding basically your perspective into life, which is impressive.
Yeah.
Humble, basic, some of like, okay, the journey is really interesting. And you came back from the US and you've been engaged with like on ground, on the government level, you're speaking events. Man, it's impressive.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a long way, but You know, it's again, I think what I always say, I got to this position only because of the people around me. There's what I've done. I can tell you, well, Safwan, 10% is only the work that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the 90% is literally the surrounding system. It's all the people around me, the circle of support, whether it's family, whether it's friends. And a lot of the times even when I say that 90%, so then you've got family, friends, and then there's this layer. I don't like to use the word strangers because for me, that word doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a stranger.
Yeah.
They're just people that I believe that I prayed and manifested. And they're people, one time I meet them, and then they just open the door for me for nothing. They don't want anything in return. And sometimes I don't even remember their names. I don't even see them again. And I feel like they were angels in the shape of human, came, did something for me, and then they just go away.
Love it.
And I'm like, how can I reach to that person again? Or I don't remember, like I cannot remember them anymore. And I don't even bump into them. I don't even remember what they look like, which is really crazy. But they played such a massive role. And there's another layer where I've not even met them. But then somebody, when they reach out to me for an opportunity, whatever kind of an opportunity, whether it was a job or this or whatever, they'll tell me somebody recommended you, or your name came from whatever, I was told to talk to you. And then I'm like, but who it was? Oh, then I'll be like, whatever. It just disappears and I don't know who it is. So I'm telling you, where I am today is because of this 90%. Because sometimes I'm like, I actually didn't do that much. And then I just got it, or I just did it. And it's crazy.
Honestly, now meeting you for now officially 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised what you're saying. To be honest, because your energy and your aura when you came in, again, the connection is instant.
Thank you.
But of course, it's evident that whoever approached basically, or even recommend your name,
thank you,
for super obvious reason.
Thank you so much. To be honest, I was actually sitting in my car for 15 minutes. I was afraid. I was like, I know I was given the time, this time, and I wanted to respect it. I didn't want to overstay my hospitality because you gotta respect someone's space. I was like sitting in the car. I was like, I'm actually outside. I'm just sitting in the car. Like,
no, when you dropped the message, like, where are you? So you were saying, I'm sitting outside. Yeah. Why are you sitting outside? I'm sitting here like having chill outside the garden.
I know.
But it's amazing. But Omar, again, it's like a nice curveball in this discussion.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to know now, and again, sharing with the small audience that I have, how Omar basically is taking care of himself, and obviously that you've been in a journey of entrepreneurship. You have your global possibilities, which I understand the mission of it. You've been engaged with a lot of like really kind of like governmental initiatives. I'm really interested to know now in that space why you're passionate about this one, and then we can jump into how you are taking care of yourself to keep your sanity in place.
Sure.
And this energy is like,
thank you.
I love it.
I try every day. So first I'll tell you, small audience but big impact.
Love it.
So shout out to all the followers of Safwan's podcast. So keep it up and share the content. Okay, you gotta do it, because if you like it and you do admire it, it's important. Whenever I tell people you like a message, share it with people. Whether if it's a book you read, an article, a video you're watching, follow Safwan and of course share it with others as well. If you do enjoy the content and you think it's useful for you and for others around you. So remember that. Now to go to your point, Safwan, and how I got into all this is a bit crazy. I've always felt, since I was very young, like I had a much bigger purpose than just like existing. I was always questioning. I was always putting this question out just to myself. I was like, why am I born? When you think about people who weren't born, or people that were born but then didn't even make it to a month, and they were just like, what's the reason? I always tell people, think about that. Why were we given this opportunity? Why are we still alive till today? There must be a bigger reason than just to get married or just to have kids or just to do it. But there is something much bigger. And why is it that there are some people that have such a massive impact globally, or sometimes outside the world, like people like Elon Musk or whatever, who's coming, by the way, to the World Government Summit in Dubai next week.
Yeah.
But then, and then why are there some people just like that? Why are some people, you know, so why do some people go through trauma in places like Lebanon or whatever, and all these other countries? And why are some people who don't have that situation? How do those people survive? How are these people surviving too? You know?
That's true.
So I always ask this question. I'm very, very inquisitive. Oh, I'll tell you something. You're very lucky we were not in school together, because my classmates found me super annoying. Like, shout out to Saman Darkan from Kitopi. Saman used to be like, Omar, can you just shut up? We just want to leave. Why are you asking so many questions? You know, I'm just very super inquisitive. So I've always asked this question, which then led me to start to want to do different things. Okay. So I always wanted to volunteer. I wanted to do things. I wish I had done what you did in Lebanon, joining the Red Cross or something. You know, I wanted to do stuff like this to feel like I was supportive of all these initiatives that are taking place around the world, you know? I was involved in supporting like an environmental organization and this and everything else. Yeah. So I want cleanup drive. I was super happy to be able to, like sometimes even when I would see like construction workers growing up in Dubai, like when we were all like sand and seeing all this, I felt so many times like I wanted to just go and help them, like the construction workers. I actually sometimes when they were not there and they were on a break, I would just go and take the shovel and just try to just try it and see like what it felt like. I wish I could do some of this just to feel like I contributed. Oh, thank you, God. And you know, I want you to see that you created this man and with arms and legs and able to do something with their hands. Like we talked about this, even like yourself. Exactly. So, which led me, and then I always felt, and sometimes people very close to me get super annoyed. They're like, why do you want to help everybody? You know, and in the midst, you just said, how do you remain sane? Because I have so many things going on. I'm involved in like a million stuff. But I do have this sanity, alhamdulillah. I'm trying to keep myself sane, and I believe that I pray, alhamdulillah, 5 times a day. You know, and it's my meditation. I love that is for me when I pray. I don't just pray. I mean, I really like sit and I meditate and I think a lot and I watch your meditation videos, which I love. Oh. So I see that and I'm like, that's exactly how I do it. Because also
similar.
I love Hannah. Thank you so much, my love. She got me into yoga, so I also do yoga too. So like, yeah, I'm into that too. So I love to look at the science of it as well. Sure. I don't just like pray because 5 times a day and you're gonna go to hell. No, I look at the science of it, and when I read the science of it, I see the benefit. So going back to the point about trying to help everybody who seeks help from me, I just feel like I cannot say no. Sometimes, you know, they say sometimes you just have to say no. I have said no a couple of times, but majority of the time, I cannot say no. I just feel like I'm going to be held super accountable for not helping when that opportunity, like, okay, when someone came, did you at least try? Because sometimes somebody will ask me for something. It could be even for a job. I don't like to not at least try. I will speak to somebody or I'll send a CV. At least I did that. But like not doing anything at all or not responding, that I feel like it's terrible. Because I always believe karma is going to come and bite me in the back.
What goes around comes around. That's mentioned in your book.
There you go. But that's the reason why I'm always that's why I felt obliged to want to give back. And every time I felt like I learned something, I wanted to give back. I wanted to give back. Which is when you talk about the book and how I got to writing, just read it. I never wanted to become an author. I was just extremely annoyed that every time I went to university while I was giving lectures about entrepreneurship or the attitude of an entrepreneur, none of the students took notes. And you probably read that. So then I was always there and I was always writing on the board, please take notes because this information. So all these girls sitting in class at Zayed University, one of the girls was like, you know, Ustad Omar or Professor Omar, whatever, like, we like to listen to you speak, but we don't like taking notes. She's like, I like to read. Why don't you write a book? I said, you know what? I'll write a freaking book. I was like, fine. If that's what it takes, then it was the purpose was just to leave or share knowledge. Not
Yeah.
because I'm barely making money. I mean, you can ask Iman from what she's probably making way more money than anything. I get like nothing from this. It's like peanuts. It won't even pay for coffee, like an espresso.
That's where the price of the box and
Yeah.
the packaging.
Oh, yeah. See, but yeah, there's like nothing. I tell people it's you don't really make. But then it helped, of course, with other things, raising your profile or
course.
whatever. But
Yeah,
otherwise, it didn't. And yeah, and that's why I even didn't know what to call the book. And I had my friend Nof, which I mentioned in the book, and I told her, I'm like, I just want people to just read it because it could be about life, about business, about whatever. And then she's like, call it that. I was like, what? She's like, just read it.
Yeah.
I was like, Went online, and there was no book called Just Read It. And even John Maxwell,
Okay.
the famous, John
Yes,
Maxwell.
sir.
Because me and him, we were invited to an event, John Maxwell and myself.
Amazing.
And John, at that time, had 100 books published.
course. He writes.
And I mean, with
He's a
my,
writer.
just read it. And then he's, he when he got on stage after my speech, then I opened for him, and then he got on stage, and he said, you know what? I published 100 books, and I never thought of a title like Just Read It. He's like, if you can imagine how I struggled to get people to read all my 100 books.
Yeah.
He's like, so he said to the audience, like, he looked at me, he said, Omar, let's do something together. I'll write the books, you give me the titles. I said, sure, I don't mind.
It's like
I said, that would be an honor, sir. Like John Maxwell, and then I work with you that way, yeah. But
there is a science behind naming the book. It's like they say that it's like takes 80% of the thinking.
Yeah.
How the hook, but yeah, it's that simple.
It's so simple, yeah.
And this is basically what I really like. It's minimalist, simple, and you can just when you have this kind of like try to like calm your brain, just open the book on any page.
Yeah.
You'll understand it. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
something that it's a story.
Yeah.
It's like multiple stories in different ways.
100%, yeah. And also, like you said, I tell people, when people tell me what can we learn from your book, I tell them nothing, because everything that's in the book you actually already know. You learned in school, you learned at home, you learned in religion, you learned in life. But all I did is, like you said, I Omarized it.
Yeah.
Just put my spin to it. But otherwise, most of these concepts and a lot of these books, it's already there. But then I wrote it at the time. It was super dark in my life, like those 8 months. I was unemployed, whatever. And yeah, all those ideas just came into my head and started just like writing, because writing was a way for me to get away from depression and my mental health. And writing saved me.
Is this the only way you were able to escape your depression?
Meditation. And I love long walks. Man, I could probably do the whole of the UAE walking. I love it. Amazing. People get so annoyed. That's why I'm always in my sneakers. Everybody's like, yo, why are you always rocking your sneakers with your kandura?
But it's really cool.
It's cool, eh?
I love it. Like, okay, when you lift it, like the Jordans.
Yeah, you gotta rock the Jordans, man. Like, especially when like young kids, because I'm always like, I turned 37 next month.
Amazing.
I feel old as hell. I'm like, God, why?
I'm 43. What are you talking about?
You don't look anything like that.
I'm enjoying my age.
Good. So for me, I always try to connect with, like, I love my younger sister. She's like 20. She's 23 now. And
Is she the one that you told her that you cannot be pop idol?
Exactly.
I
love my life.
I love this part. Like, okay.
Yeah. Because look, to be honest, Nihal's got a beautiful voice, and every time I think of people like Hannah Montana and then whatever and the Wrecking Ball, I'm like, hell no, Nihal, it's okay. She was Hannah Montana. And you could sing in the bathroom when you're taking a shower or something, but forget it. It ain't gonna happen when I'm alive. So Nihal, I always try to be cool with her. And sometimes they say some terms, and then she's like, Omar, they don't say that anymore. I was like, really? When did they change that word? It just started. She's like, no, it started like 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You just picked it up, and it just died like last week.
Like,
there's a new word for that.
We cannot catch up. It's like we cannot catch up. Especially now, my son, he's in the gaming community with these kind of like small words passing by. Like, okay, I'm not able to catch up.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, it's amazing. And how's your journey now? Because you're active, and I think what you're doing now on a daily basis by being highly active, engaged with multiple fronts. How are you taking care, basically, how are you mentally, because you're doing the praying, the meditation. What about the physical activity? Are you
100%? I'm glad that I wake up in the morning, start yoga. Shout out to Yoga with Cassandra.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys follow her or not, but she's really cool. And Hannah, of course, told me about Cassandra. So thank you, Hannah Montana. So so Cassandra, I start with that, and then I'll have like a quick breakfast, go to the mosque. I start my day with going to pray, and then I will find the time. So my gym time is not set in stone. It varies.
Okay.
Sometimes, but I try to at least get like twice or three times to go to the gym at least a week. And what's most important is that I try to incorporate over like even the working out, sleep and eating well. So my diet is pretty good. Like I eat clean. I know between my carbs and this and everything. And then on top of all of this, more than anything, is walking. I love walking, like I said. So I walk a lot, and we have a track in my neighborhood and everything in Adishaba. So I do put in the walk, which is the most important part for me.
Yeah. What's your biggest challenge that you faced? You mentioned basically this period that you went through, the depression. Is there something bigger than this challenge?
You know, I think one of so I'll tell you some of the challenges that happened. I got stabbed twice. Yeah, I know. I got into a fight. I got stabbed. I got divorced. I was married once. I got divorced. I was unemployed. I got fired once from a job. It was terrible. I got demoted. I have titanium plates in my back, by the way. I had a massive surgery because I had tuberculosis in my spine.
Okay.
Yeah, like the list does not stop. Like, and a lot of the times I used to like just like smile and why is these things happen? I'm like, I was like, dear God, I think I am a good person. Like, why these things happen to me? I of course I don't know. Most people probably have hurt someone or whatever, maybe directly or indirectly or consciously or unconsciously. But then I'm like, I always ask for forgiveness, like from the person or from God all the time. So I'm like, why do these things happen to me? And then, then I remember that quote, God gives his toughest problems to his strongest soldiers.
True.
Or the biggest problems to his strongest soldiers. So for me, I always remember that, look, there's a reason why I'm going through all of these things. So those were like some of my darkest moments. And look, I always tell people this: the worst day of my life and the best day of my life. The worst day of my life was my first marriage, and the best day of my life was my divorce.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I dodged the bullet. I can tell you that. Thank God I don't have kids with her. But anyways, I'm very, very happy. I found the right one finally after all this struggle. Yeah. So that was probably the darkest time. It was terrible. Okay. My wedding day was terrible. I can't even describe. Like, it was really bad. Like, we had to have a separate episode, Safwan, about that. It was a terrible day. I remember my mom and my sisters crying. It was that bad. Yeah. It was really, really bad. Like, it was just the worst thing ever. And I'm open to talk about these things. Some people don't talk about this, and we should, and sometimes it's not all rosy, Okay, sometimes some people go through like a bad marriage. It was on my wedding day. It started off like a nightmare. Wallah, I honestly, guys, probably do a movie on that. It was so bad. And look, now I laugh about it. Like, everybody laughs at when I tell them. Like, yeah, it's fun because But I mean, it was a learning lesson. Now I know exactly what I'm gonna do, and that's why my wedding. Next time I get married, inshallah, with Han, I told you, it's gonna be on the beach. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be my way. It's gonna be chilled. It's gonna be in Florida, 100%. But that first experience was terrible. It was everything that I'm not, and me or my family. It was just wrong. But I don't know what happened. I was just like swayed into something. But that was. Saf, I'm telling you, it was like I can't think of anything that was even my surgery wasn't that bad. Although I was bedridden for God knows how long in bed, that was nothing compared to how bad
it's
that
more
was.
Emotional than physical.
Yeah. Oh my God. 100%.
Wow.
I know.
I've never heard someone,
a
man, saying that it's my worst day. Usually the wives come back after a while saying, "This was my first." Father.
No, I'm telling you, it was that bad. So my thing with when it comes to this is, I think whether in business or in life or in anything, is making sure you identify the right life partner or the right partner. So whether that person is with you for life or whatever, that's the difference. But at least the right partner. So for your business, the right partner. For starting a family, for love, the right part, 100%. And I remember, Safwan, what you said to me. You guys, you should have seen the look on his eyes when he talked about his wife. And when he saw her in this, I'm telling you, there was stars in his eyes, and you know this man is a man in love.
Yeah,
You're talking.
she's my savior.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing to mess with a man in love, because you could feel like, hey, don't mess with me, man. I've got a great woman, and he mentioned his wife more times than I can count. Like he said, I asked my wife for this. I asked my wife. If you look at the design of this place, it's his wife. So
it's not me.
Looking at someone like, mashallah, you know, and this also goes to say the kind of parents that Safwan was blessed to have. Like you can only imagine that he came from a great background for him to have the same sort of like charisma to bring it to his existing family right now. So
Omar, thank you
well
very
done,
much.
wallah. And well done to Safwan's parents if you're watching this.
Oh, God bless his soul. My dad passed away in 2010, unfortunately. But yeah, it's like again, it's you went through this, and what's really appreciated now that you are speaking about them, and you're not suppressing them. And I'm definitely, basically, this is one of the things we discussed offline, that we're discussing with my close friends and reaching out, that speak up, talk about your challenges. I have a trauma, everyone have a trauma, and you don't have like to even cover it. Of course, with the unfortunately with the social media, everything is rosy, everything is nice, but no, man, especially, I wouldn't say differentiate between women and men, but men, unfortunately, in this part of the world, as if it's taboo to speak about your challenges, which is really dangerous.
I love that you said that. Oh my God. I love that you said that, because you just asked that question. How do I manage my, or how do I maintain, how do I deal with mental health? It's because I've built the confidence to speak about it. I have nothing to hide. I mean, it was there. I mean, there were people that can tell you. It was like whatever. So, or my reaction or what happened. But I'm happy and I'm glad that I'm explaining what happened, because the more that I kept it inside, the worse it was playing on. But the more that I speak about it, I feel liberated. Every time I talk about it, I feel like a weight's off my shoulder. It's you know, I think it's also a cultural thing in the Arab world where when something bad happens, especially when it's like we feel it's embarrassing. Oh لا يعني منقود عند العرب ما نتكلم, we don't talk about it, like, oh, it's like it's a or we say خلاص استر. I didn't mention the name of my ex-wife and whatever. I didn't say her name, I didn't say anything. I said it was. Now you guys go and dig and see what and actually, can I tell you something? You actually won't even find it, because apparently she changed her name too. So that's how bad it was.
Oh my God.
So I don't know.
Oh, this is really another episode.
Oh, I told you she actually did change her. Anyways, it was that bad. So I don't know. So she changed because she knows how terrible it is with it. I don't have to. I can't pray and say something bad about her, because now it's a different name. So if I'm praying for like whatever. Anyways, long story short. I talk about it because every time I speak about it, I'm able to also learn about what I should not do the next time around. I know exactly, like, okay, because people will tell me, so what went wrong? Like, what happened? And then I would pinpoint the different things that was wrong with that relationship. And then every time I say it, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm not going to pick next time. These are the red flags. Now I know what the red flags are. When people are like, did you not see the red flags? They were there, but I actually did not see them as red flags. But now, no, I know. And I have this thing, the moment I see it, any other time that I've met somebody after, I was like, oops, nope, delete, goodbye. No, it's not going to work. I'm like, no, it's not going to. Now I know. So yes, I mean, look, Safwan, I got married when I was 24. I am now 36. I've clearly learned so much. It took me this amount of time to learn, okay, now I know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I got to a level of maturity and understanding and awareness and all these things to know what I want. And everything, by the way, it's not only to do with that.
You mentioned this in the book, by the way. Your uncle who said that there are no failures, there are trials.
Exactly. My uncle Isa Rawahi, I love him. So my uncle, he always says that every single time. And he said, he's like, Omar, whatever it is, never give up, like all the time. Like, I know you may feel ashamed or some people might say comments to you or whatever, just like ignore them. Like he was always like my North Star and my role model, because he was always keeping, I'm so grateful to his existence, because he always gave me hope. Even with business, especially with business. Like, look, I love my mother and my mom knows this. I love her to death. My mom doesn't mind me having business, but she does prefer for me to have a stable job and not just to be in business itself. She's like,
I think all
it's
the
risky.
moms.
Yeah, all the moms. All the moms are like that. And I understand.
Yeah,
It comes out of love. It's come from a good space, you
True.
know? But, you know, I'm glad that my uncle, because look, my siblings, I have 2 sisters and my brother. They have nothing going on but like their jobs and they're happy and whatever. For me, I was always like I was like, no. I hung out on way too many Lebanese. Like Lebanese people do not believe in that. Like the Lebanese, like they'll get a job, they'll do a job for like whatever, and next thing you know, they have the next Google is set up by like some Lebanese guy, like either living in Canada, Australia, or the US. They start their startup there. Now it's happening in Dubai, so they're doing it from here. So hanging out with them, and when they talk to me, I'm like, no. So I have my Lebanese friends, and then I have my uncle. I'm like, this is a dangerous combo.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I got into entrepreneurship, and then these guys just inspire me every day.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So
Yeah.
what are the interesting, or basically the main activities or the things that you feel proud of? Apart from the Lebanese, but
Yeah. I love that. So I think the thing that I feel really proud of is I'm really glad that I was able to build a very strong network of acquaintances, friends, and people who just genuinely just want to, if I call them, I know that they're ready to support me anytime. So I was able, it's come in handy for my family, it's come in handy for my other friends. For a lot of the times I would even want to connect with people who would have some sort of an influence just because, not because of me, because I want to support another friend. So I would want to create that connection to support somebody else.
Catalysts.
All the time. Exactly, the catalysts. And then, so that I'm proud of having able to do that. I'm proud that I have no problem with specialists, but I love that I'm a generalist. I love to know a lot about many things than just a lot about a few things. Because that way, when I'm sitting in a room, it could be about anything, and I already have some sort of like basic knowledge about that topic. And I love the other thing as well, and I'm proud of, alhamdulillah, is that I always tell people, if you want to be interesting, like you, Safwan, you have to be interested. And that is the reason why you read the book. You're like, okay, there you go. So right? So you're like, okay, let me look him up and let's see. Because so yeah, when you become interested, that's how you're able to draft your questions and you're able to relate to the content I've said there. It makes this conversation even more dynamic.
Absolutely.
So this is the reason why I tell. So being inquisitive, being curious, being active to want to like help somebody else. These are the things that I'm proud and I'm happy that whether consciously or subconsciously, they've formed the person that I am today, and I'm able to keep these qualities and help, or even grow these qualities over time. Like, you know, from 2015 to now, even more ideas than those what's in Just Read It, and being able to have platforms like this podcast, or speaking in conferences, or meeting people for coffee or something, to share that and let it go. I don't mind if if I was invited to an event to be, there's going to be 150 people, or 200 people, or 300. If there's one person shows up, I will deliver it at the same level as when 200 or 300 people are there. I don't mind it. That one person is one person that can impact the world somehow.
I love this mindset. And this is basically even my intention behind the podcast. If I'm trying to inspire one person, I've done a big job.
100%. And that's why it doesn't matter how many followers you've got on the thing. It doesn't even count, because I'm telling you, even when you look at if it's 500 people, if it's 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is, that this is more than enough, because you needed just 1,000 people to do whatever. Look at how many communities around the world, very small, and look at the impact they have globally. And a lot of, if you notice, a lot of communities, countries, or this, or people, or group, the smaller they are, the more organized they can get, the more influence and impact they can have. Rather than a place where you have like billions of people, it's not the same. Not the same thing.
Something interesting about the network, and I'm gonna change your perspective about it, because you are the perfect example of this. There is a difference between being network and knowing a lot of people, and being a key person of influence where a lot of people know you.
Yeah.
And this is basically in your case. I think you can add this in the
I like
just
that.
read it
Thank
edition
you.
2.
Edition 2.
And it's obvious because it's sometimes we think that okay, it's important how much good people, or basically our network, or how many people we know. But believe it or not, with your attributes and with your influence, people know you. And I told you like an incident yesterday when I mentioned your name. Okay, like 3-4, they know Omar. But yeah, it's really amazing. And what's your next venture? Of course, it's you mentioned multiple things.
Yeah.
But share with us something that really to look for.
I'm really looking forward to connecting to who I believe is my life partner.
Big one, true.
That is for me. Like, look, I've noticed that from the time I got divorced to now, I had achieved a lot of things. I did publish my book. After that, I published my book. I got the Fulbright scholarship. I've received multiple awards. I've got my master's degree. I did so. I had businesses. I closed major deals and everything. But not being able to share that 10 years in that time, like to have a partner to share these things with, was something that I miss. And I feel like now I want to share this journey, moving forward. I don't want it to just be, I feel it's almost selfish. It's weird. So I don't find satisfaction in just doing so. I always feel like I want to come back and say, hey, today I did this, today I did this. Like, it feels like, when we were kids and we want to go home and tell your mom, like, oh, I got a star on my exam. Like, I got like a 10 out of 10, whatever.
True.
You know what
That's
I mean?
true, yeah.
So it's weird. And I'm telling you, this all men out there, we whatever. But I can see it in Safwan. I can see, like, even when you talked about it, you talked about how your wife helped you pick certain things in this room and make this happen, even allow you to come and, you feel, oh, look, I did this and look what I did out of it. So that is the feeling I want to have. I cannot wait to have that. And I can see, even when I see like my sister, Ida, with her husband, like, they're like a power couple and they've achieved so much, like from where they started, and now they have 2 beautiful boys. I love my nephews. Like, they're killing it. So I want to see that. Even with my Uncle Isa, I look at my Uncle Isa and then I see, the family he's got. His kids are beautiful, smart. They're all very successful in their own right. And looking from where he was and where he is today, like this is what so I love seeing that kind of growth. That's what matters the most. In terms of business and everything else, look, I told you I'm doing the ed tech. I'm doing this thing with Nancy. We know what we're going to be able to do in terms of helping people to become, we're looking at lifelong learners, and it's about credentializing and tracking their learning over time, which we're all lifelong learners. We love to learn all the time, and we're trying to do something for people who are in that space. That's great. And there might be even other ventures. Of course, we want to do this and then sell it and maybe do something else after that. But really, like, to the core is like me just connecting. And finally, like, I'll tell you, Safwan, like with Hannah, I told her this and I'll tell her this every single time. It's almost the same way that I see you and your wife. She's like my best friend. I'm telling you, I've not actually had even a male best friend like her. She's super cool. Like,
Amazing.
just cool to hang out with. She's chill. I'm like, Hannah, let's go to Texas. She's like, when? I'm like, today, done, let's go, whatever, like, and she's just spontaneous and so cool. Like, it's not only that, but it's so many different things. Even small things, like, let's go to like, there at Target in the States. Everybody loves Target, so I'm like, let's go to Target. And she loves Target. She's like a Target ambassador. Yeah, but that's what I love. So I want to like really initiate that and make it like legit and start, and that's it, but otherwise, everything for me, from what I see right now with what I'm doing, I love that I'm growing Global Possibilities. Global Possibilities is in the States, it's here, it's also in Malaysia. Alhamdulillah, like, there's a lot of different clients reaching out to us saying that they want our services and we're helping them expand. If I was really wealthy, I would do Global Possibilities for free. I actually was doing it anyways.
Yeah.
I was always connecting people. The number of people, Safwan, that reached out to me over my lifetime saying, oh, hey, can you connect me with this? I've helped so many people, connect so many people together. They're making millions right now as we speak.
Amazing.
And I never asked them for anything. Some people wanted to give me something. Some people did not want to give me anything. I never asked anything.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, whatever. And my mom, this is where the business side of my mom comes in. She's like, Omar, you're always helping so many people. Like, why don't you like at least get something out of it and we'll get a cut and whatever. So for a long time, it wasn't like my objective. But now I found the right time and the medium to do it properly. Because I was like, you know what? It won't just be a connection, but it will be something which is a structured partnership. So I will advise you. I will walk with you. I'll show you the ropes and everything, explain a lot of things, and then open the door and also try to follow up with that as well.
Yeah.
That is where I found, okay, the right way where even when I'm having that conversation, I don't feel ashamed about asking to get paid for the service.
Need to fund it, by the way. It's an energy
exactly.
to grow it.
100%. And then, so that's what, like, I really want Global Possibilities to be that, like, not just a platform for these kind of connections, but like a knowledge platform, like to really bridge cultures. I always say, I'm a global citizen from the UAE. حتى الشيوخ, يعني even our Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the president of the United Arab Emirates, he said, I want you all to be global citizens. I want you are all ambassadors. All of us are ambassadors. We're ambassadors of our family, al-Turk. We're ambassadors for our religion. We're ambassadors for our country. So the moment you go out, the first and the last impression that somebody else has, they subconsciously or consciously, whatever they see, especially when they see this, that's it. They don't think this is like, you know, you're from wherever. They're like, okay, this is an Emirati from this background and whatever, and this is the vibe I got. So I always tell people, if you have that mentality all the time, every day you wake up to be the best representation of all of these things that you represent, you become completely different. You always will want to just give the best of yourself. And if people have that sort of attitude, think about it. Because immediately you feel, oh, I have this official label of, because when you think of an actual ambassador, like the ambassadors, because I worked in the consulate before. I used to work at the British Embassy in Abu Dhabi, and I worked at also the UAE consulate in New York. We were very strict instructions. When you go out, what you say, how you say, who you connect with, all of those things. It's not only should be on that level when you're a diplomat, it should be even if you're not a diplomat. Yeah. It's amazing. I was like, I wish this was taught in school. You know, we always talk about like coding should be taught in school or this and whatever. Of course, coding, health and wellness and all of these things should be, or financial literacy. True. But also the acts of diplomacy. Social intelligence. And these, the codes of diplomacy. Like, what are those things that entail to become a good diplomat? Because diplomats, their role is to connect and create dialogue and understanding, have that attitude of understanding, acceptance, openness. We talked about, regardless of somebody's background, sect, all of those things. Yeah. But when you're sitting as a diplomat, you gotta shut all of your own biases off and then judgments and then you're literally sitting to understand and then negotiate as well and then come to some sort of consensus. If you have that, I wish diplomacy was taught. I know we have the Emirates Diplomacy Academy, but that's for people who want to become I think that academy should extend into schools. Like, that whole knowledge should sort of like funnel down. And I learned that. I didn't go to the academy. Actually, if anything, I went to the academy to like give a lecture or two. Yeah. But I wish they actually extended those courses of diplomacy into the school system all the way down. Imagine what will happen to all the people.
Yeah, I think it's being political and the way you approach the social intelligence, which is something that I looked into it in details, is it gives you basically this kind of emotional quotient capability.
Yeah, exactly.
Socially.
Yes.
And how you interact with others.
Yeah.
Even with the close family, by the way, to become more political is important.
Exactly.
Negotiations and all the kind of something that levels down.
Yeah.
I love this one on top of the philosophy, which
I agree 100%. Like, I'm even for, like, I wish we learned philosophy, world religions as well, like a topic on that, not just like one. But so imagine you have emotional intelligence, social intelligence. So your EQ, your AQ, you've got IQ. You even have AQ, like agility quotient, CQ, creativity quotient. All these different quotients, and you're like, you become truly universal. Like, you have a universal mindset. In fact, I'll tell you, Safwan, I did my master's in international affairs and intelligence at Florida State. However, I actually wanted to study a program offered at Columbia called Global Thought. There's a degree called Masters in Global Thought, for those of you out there. Masters in Global Thought is run by the Council of Global Thought at Columbia. and they literally look at tackling global problems in economics, politics, social, environmental, etc. And you have to come with global solutions.
Okay.
Imagine if everybody had that. That program, unfortunately, is not being taught all over the world. We should have that program in schools. And again, it should not just be in universities. It should go all the way down to schools.
To the schooling system.
The school system. Imagine if everybody had and took a class on global thought. We need that.
That's true, especially in these days.
Exactly, 100%. The world's so small. So I wanted to actually study that, but then I decided, I dropped that and I didn't go to Columbia because back then, 2018, my father passed away.
Oh,
and then when he passed away, Allah rahmah, then luckily and fortunately, I got my Fulbright scholarship the following year, 2019, and that's when I left to the States.
Okay.
And I didn't, but the Fulbright, they picked the school. I picked the program, and they picked the school, so I didn't get a chance to go there. But who knows? I might be able to go and do another master's.
It's obvious that you will get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I look. I'm not done. Like going to. I love the university environment. It really keeps me going, and definitely is something that I want to do when I'm a little bit more relaxed and I don't have to hustle that much. I'm going to do another master's.
I don't think you're missing the time actually because you already have the mindset. So it's something that it's obvious you're passionate about, and the way you delivered now, you convinced me even more because I'm exposed to it in an interesting way, especially as we mentioned, it's becoming small world. Our kids now and the new generation exposed by the negative and the bad things, and now they have basically this kind of like the say and the influence to have an impact. Not in the positive or driving an agenda, but at least to have this kind of a global perspective. And how to have an impact in the long run. But Omar, I don't know how to end this conversation because I can stay
no,
like
Safwan,
this
no, it's not over. We're not done. We have so much to talk about.
Your turn.
You hijacked it. I told you. You asked. I told you you're not going to do this. No. We gotta go back to you. No. Look, Safwan. Tell us about your upbringing. Tell us about you as a child. Like how was it? You growing up and then all the way through till you came here. Okay. What were your hobbies? Were you obedient? Were you mischievous? Were you this? Were you that? What kind of music? House, R&B, hip hop?
It's funny. Again, I briefly mentioned at the beginning about my childhood. But yeah, I'm a football fan, I would say. I played a lot. I was a failure, but then I ended up by really focusing on it, and I became the junior of the national team. But yeah, it's again covered this point about our district, which is quite unique, where we are able to play kind of like the old way of going out. And luckily, my mom, the moment I wake up, she used to ask me go out, and that answering the question if I was a naughty boy or not. The moment I wake up, and my wife now laugh about it, that till the dawn that okay, I come back. I take a shower and I go to bed. This was basically my routine. And surprisingly, I grew up with this one because I was active. And when I went to the college, I was again involved in this Boy Scout. So I don't remember that I spent a lot of time with the family, which is something I regret. But I was outdoor all the time. And this is one of the things that now, luckily, my kids started to enjoy, despite the fact that the exposure about the digital. But I was always out, trying to do something, playing Boy Scout, followed by Red Cross. Now I'm into the mountaineering. I enjoy every year I have a stupid idea to climb a mountain. And I came back from Aconcagua last year, the second highest mountain. I love nature.
Wow, amazing.
So I think you've been to Lebanon, and that's how you can enjoy the sea and the mountain in the same day. But yeah, it's this is a brief about my childhood. Of course, we have the traumas. Unfortunately, I went through a lot of conflicts, including the civil war, the internal conflicts, the war with our neighbors. It's a lot of stories to be told.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 sisters.
Mashallah.
Bigger than me.
Okay.
But luckily, I was not pampered because I didn't stay that much at home. That's one of the good things.
Are they here or are they in?
No, they are back in Lebanon. It's I love them so much. Of course, it's that. But yeah, it's surprising. Something that I really, when I started to grow up and raising family, some of the things now I reflect on it and I regret the fact that I wasn't that close. And some of my close friends, they know this about me. but something I'm really putting the effort to fix it, to be more connected back to my culture. And again, one of the big highlights now, I started to realize that I want to go more connected to this part of this country. I'm not call it Middle East. I don't like this word. But the Arabic side of things, our cultures, especially that's what's happening now. I became more woke up to the realization that, man, we are blessed in multiple fronts. Of course, socially connected with this, and how we can look to the other side. But even my children now, I'm trying my best to make sure that this, as you tapped into being open. Luckily, they are in the country that they are knowing different cultures, knowing different people. Something I didn't have in my childhood. Going back to my childhood, that I strongly believe that they are basically in the perfect place.
Alhamdulillah, that's good.
Not to be pampered. Because I also believe in the little bit of hardship. It shape you. And make you basically how you look into the adversity in a different perspective.
I see what you do to them on social media.
And we mentioned this. It's luckily I did not force them. And they came to me, Daddy, let's train. Sometimes we go out. It's like, and now they started to explore their own things. I'm not pushing any agenda. But this is in a nutshell. This is who's me.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Safwan.
Man, it's a pleasure, Omar. But again, it's like I love this. This one is special. I can tell you. And I really look forward to share it with you and with your basically connection. But of course, I will not ask this typical question where people can find you. It's I'll put this. But again, Omar, it's really a pleasure to have you in my place.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
It's
in amazing. Your home, which is a big deal. You know, I've never done a podcast in somebody's home. I've been interviewed before, but this is the first, and I'm really glad it happened at this time. And it's with you. I'm really happy. You know, you can feel the energy in this house. Like that's why I feel even more open. Like I feel like I'm talking to you in your home. I'm not talking to screens or whatever. I'm talking to you at home. I feel safe to talk about it.
I'm grateful for that, and it's done by design because I want to connect with others, and we discussed this several times that I feel this in a different way, and some people ask me, which studio or something. No, it's like intentionally I did it here because you are working in my place, and we have to speak about it openly. And again, I really thank you for asking me this critical question because I was requested several times from my close friends and my old colleagues. Safwan, tell your story. And thank you for that because I have a lot of things, but maybe I need to put it in structure more.
No. I know you have more. You already did say structure. You have a lot more. We need more time. I don't know. I mean, I know there's a limit to this.
No, there's no limit.
I don't want your other guests that came on the show. Hey, why did you do it for like 3 hours with Omar? Like what? You know, like you know. So I don't want to. You know. Shout out to all your guests.
We can carry on. It's like I will leave it up to you. But usually I have this kind of like way of thinking. I'm not saying structured, but shoot.
I'll tell you this. Okay, tell me about now. Now let's go to your wife. How did you meet her? How and what is that connection? What was like? Oh, you got butterflies. Like that's it. That's her.
Yeah, it's a funny story. And again, sometimes I feel proud of this story. What happened that when I was basically, as I mentioned a while ago, that I was in the corporate world, I was encouraged by my manager to continue my university degree. And I told him, listen, I cannot afford it. And luckily, he supported me financially from the company to apply for this kind of like night shift university. And I was actively working. I was distributor of Procter & Gamble, and I was active in the Red Cross. And going to the university was the third or fourth priority in my life. And even back then, my mom used to tell me that you use the home just as a hotel. You come in, you wash your clothes, you eat, and that's it. So I used to finish the work at 5:30, and I used to rush to the university. And usually these courses, I signed up for this, whatever, just give me any course just to complete because I need to finish and then go back to report to the Red Cross because I used to spend the whole night there. And my 2 hours in the university, I used to usually come late to the class, open the door, sit in the back, no engagement with anyone because I don't have time for you guys. I have other priorities in my life. But one day, I signed up. I don't remember. It's more like marketing strategy. And the moment I entered the class, I found a nice lady sitting at the front. It grabbed my attention. The second time I came to the class, suddenly Safwan, he's sitting in the front.
Yeah.
I've never I've never basically.
So we have the same other story because we met both our loves in university.
Yeah, I was a little bit like more confident because I was technically I was older than the other students because after 5 years, and I told Noor, my wife, listen, would you like me to drop you back home because I know that you're living on the other side and I have a car, of course. She told me, no, sorry, I don't. I cannot.
Yeah.
And this attracted me even more. Okay, that's.
She forgot that you love challenges. That's what Safwan said. He likes challenges. Oh God.
Led me to the second day, where I told her that sorry, I feel that I did something wrong yesterday, but would you allow me today to drop you? And obviously she realized, okay, this guy will persevere.
Yes,
He's
persistent. That's it. Yeah.
But the interesting part, we met in 2005, and the war broke in 2006. There is a total different story there, where what happened is that luckily they were able to get a way to evacuate to Saudi Arabia. And she asked me the question, then what are you going to do? And I was active in the Red Cross. And I told her that, listen, it's I put my blood and sweat in that organization.
Yeah.
And I need to be present because back then I was a team leader.
Yeah. Oh, God.
She didn't touch this. And obviously I felt with her. And funny enough, we laugh about it now. She told me that, she asked me a simple question. It's me or the Red Cross? And the answer was obvious.
Yeah.
It was obvious for her. Yeah. But I really felt bad because what happened back then, it's really, we're able to go to the mountains, and I was to escape during basically the conflicts, to escape through with an ambulance, luckily, and just to catch up with her. And after a while, they were basically got an access to reach out to Syria to take the plane to Saudi Arabia. And we stayed in touch for a couple of months after the war. And I told her, listen, I'm committed for this relationship because we felt the connection. And funny, it's when you see these movies, when you see this kind of two lovers saying bye to each other and exchanging things. And funny enough, it's a funny story. Now I remember that it was at the intersection back in Beirut, and they took the bus that will take them through the borders. And I was standing outside the bus. She's putting her hand out. And suddenly I have dog tags, the military one.
Of course, yeah.
It has my name because I was in Red Cross. Yeah. In case something happened to us, it's at least
the blood group and everything. They need to know all of that. Yeah, I understand.
And I gave her one of them.
Oh.
And I kept the second one with me. Yeah. And she gave me her perfume. Yeah.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Exactly.
Oh
exactly.
God, it's so funny.
And luckily after a couple of months, we kept connected through the MSN.
The good old days. I thought you were going to say ICQ.
No, it's even older.
Yeah.
And we stayed in touch. And when she was able to go back to Lebanon, and I reached out to her mom, telling her that I want to get engaged. It's not something that I can tolerate.
Yeah.
And after a while, luckily, I moved to Dubai. And within 6 months, as I told you a while ago, that, listen, I need to commit to this relationship because I'm done by a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I need to have this kind of stability.
Yeah.
And again, I feel with you that it's really important to have this kind of, I wouldn't say peace of mind, but someone to share your ups and downs in a really kind of emotional and logical way.
Yeah.
Of course, I feel with all my friends that they are passing through tough relationships. But listen, I know there is a compromise, but this is priceless. And what adds to the mix, all of this, of course, is to have children.
Yeah.
And it's beyond kind of, you feel that this is basically your mission in life. And of course, I can speak about the first relationship with my son. When he was born, I was present there. And also with my daughter, because I was super rude with the doctor that I want to be in the operation room.
Yeah. You want to see it?
I've seen a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
no, some dads, they have this, they will faint at it. Listen, you have no clue.
You don't know me.
You have no clue.
I was in the Red Cross.
no
I've
clue
seen
whether-
everything.
Man, it's beyond. I have a lot of stories. And
I
by
can
the way,
imagine. That's another episode.
that's definitely another episode, because funny enough, I was speaking with my basically friends with the Red Cross, and we're talking about, do we have kind of trauma? We have, because sometimes, funny enough, we go back to stories and basically we speak about it, and we have this kind of, every time back then in the Red Cross, in the evening, we closed basically the mission, and we sit and we speak about it. By the way, this is one of the practices in the Red Cross.
Interesting.
To sit as a team, and we speak about basically the whole logistics. What are the things? What did you see? What did you feel? And this was surprisingly, we didn't take it we took it for granted. It's kind of therapy.
Wow.
But funny enough, it will come back in a different form and shape in the future. And I'm still in touch with some amazing. We built an amazing camaraderie and relationship till today.
I can imagine.
And sometimes we reach out to each other and we speak. We remember some really bad incidents and really funny incidents sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is basically, this is in a nutshell, basically.
Wow, that was a journey. I'm telling you, the way you just explained it, what were you talking about? I don't have structure. It was just, you took us to a very nice.
I'm working
I
on it.
almost felt like it was a movie we were watching. You know,
I'm working on my storytelling.
No.
Three things by the way, I'm really passionate about, and something that I would love to improve. Podcast is helping me a lot. Storytelling and improv.
Yeah.
Not because I want to be a comedian, but I know the value of it. And surprisingly, and one of the occasions I mentioned, I love public speaking.
Yeah.
I practiced in the corporate world, but I have now, if you ask me, Safwan, I have a mission, and this is a platform where I can speak out.
Yeah, 100%.
Having amazing people like you.
Habibi, thank you, man.
I did not expect this, honestly. And usually you mentioned something really cool. I don't overwhelm myself researching the person, but at least I want to have this kind of understanding who's the person and the background. And you are easy person to pick up on and to understand basically your background, the book.
Yeah.
But the curveball, someone to interview me.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we mentioned this. I have a lot of friends ask me that's one day someone who should interview you. But yeah, man, it's
I'm so glad.
Came off nowhere.
No, and I'm glad that I get to do it in your platform. I don't have a podcast, and it's not something that I want to start for now, at least. But I'm glad that I got a chance to let you share your story. It's important because it's good. Thank you for highlighting all these different people that you brought to your platform. But it's also good for people to know how is it working for you? What was your story? What happened? What led you here? And where are you going next? And this is it's really interesting, and to listen to your.
I cannot thank you enough, Omar.
No,
it's really a pleasure.
It's all good.
And I think this is a perfect conclusion.
And this is not the last time we're gonna meet.
It will not.
That no way. Just letting you guys know. There's gonna be.
I can
part
assure
2.
you, definitely part 2, part 3, part 4.
Yeah,
we have a lot of amazing topics. Of course, we can tap into. We have basically. I'm really admiring your job and what you're doing, your mindset, the way you look into things. And it's a privilege to have you on the show, man.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I think this was an epic episode, at least personally.
Likewise, 100%. I loved it.
Special thanks for everyone reaching out. And again, I'm doing my best to keep improving on the show. If you like it, follow us. We are on your favorite podcast apps, and we are on YouTube channel. This humble YouTube channel. Special thanks to Adam, my son, who's helping me on the podcast production.
Shout out to Adam.
Yep. He's getting paid. Don't worry, it's not for free. And yeah, man, Superhuman Switch. Get your switch on. Omar.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.